Good morning, everybody. It's Saturday morning and it's about 10 o'clock, I think. I'm sat here with my coat on in the kitchen because I'm in and out at the moment. But I just thought I'd make a short video because I need to keep you up to speed with everything that's happening here. And also to give a small apology for any time that I will not be on YouTube over the next possibly few days, if not the next week. But anyway, that will give you a chance to catch up with everything that you possibly haven't seen on YouTube. Anyway, as I was having my breakfast, which I've just finished there, some muesli, I was having a little look at this book, and it was a gift, or it is a gift from one of my daughters, because they know that I absolutely love and support the National Trust. This book is part of the National Trust, and I love this guy, Alan Titchmarsh. He's a great gardener and presenter, and I just adore architecture, and especially architecture which is of the 19th century and before that. So anyway, looking at this book has coincided with my annual visit to my accountant over in Drumshanbo. Lovely guy by the name of Declan. Declan is always very happy and relaxed and smiling, and certainly takes the anxiety out of visiting the accountant, which is sort of very strange for me, because I shouldn't have any anxiety visiting the accountant, because I'm completely upfront about everything that I do earn through the sale of my books, or through donations, everything. I just print out all my PayPal stuff, I give it to him, I bring all my bank statements, and I bring the statements of my monthly pension, which is a huge amount of €220 or somewhere in that region. But anyway, I'm more than happy to pay my tax, and especially living here in the Republic of Ireland, because we don't have a standing army as such. We have a defence force, so there's certainly none of my money going towards any kind of war. And we have a very good social welfare system, of which I'm very proud. And the benefits within that social welfare system are generous, and I'm happy to support that. And because I was once a benefit of the social welfare system myself, so I do appreciate that people should not be kept in penury because they're unemployed or whatever. And I'm more than happy to use some of the money that I make in supporting local business, vis-a-vis having all my books and maps and calendars and everything printed in my local town of Carrick-on-Shannon, and everything is posted as individually as possible from my local post office, which is a tiny little post office inside a small supermarket. Again, not in my local village, because that doesn't have a post office, but the next village up the road, Ballyfarnan. So, whilst I was having my breakfast of muesli, which I enjoyed, and I was beginning to peruse this beautiful book, which is a beautiful book, I thought, I must just have a look to see where this is printed, because this is the National Trust. Okay. The National Trust Tour of Britain. Whereupon I was shocked. Shocked. Because the reproduction by GPS Limited, Slovenia, printed and bound in Hong Kong. And yet this is a National Trust book, and the National Trust is a fine British organisation which is there to preserve buildings of historic and cultural interest. All right? And yet it does nothing to preserve the livelihood of people within the printing industry in Great Britain. So I'm shocked by that, because that to me, I'll say it bluntly, that's penny pinching. That's not considering the bigger picture and the long-term view. The bigger picture is that you only live in a society that is as good as what you're feeding into. You're not apart from society. I mean, here at Beyonce in the Cottage, I'm, to all intents and purposes, quite apart from society. But in actual fact, I'm not just fully integrated in society. I am a huge supporter of the society I live in. And I do that through not being penny pinching, not taking the short-term view, and not being inward looking. It's important to me that whatever money I earn is spread out in a fair and equal way, supporting what it is that in turn supports me. And yes, I could certainly save, some money by having my books uploaded to whatever company there is there in cyberspace to print them off cheaply and post them off from Amazon or whatever. Or I could, take my material up to Northern Ireland and have it printed up there and save a few euros. But what's the point? What is the point? I know when I have enough, and I have enough to live on. I'm not in any way impoverished. Although to a lot of people who tune into this channel, they'd say, well, she's not driving a big car, she doesn't have a washing machine and tumble dryer, she has a compost toilet, she's sitting there in the kitchen with her coat on having her breakfast. She's not terribly well off. I'm very well off, because that measuring stick is something that most of us have forgotten how to use, because it doesn't incorporate personal happiness, and it doesn't incorporate that fearful word, anxiety. And I spoke about fear the other night, but a lot of what we consider to be fear is actually anxiety. I don't suffer from anxiety because I've got nothing to hide. I'm not hiding. I'm not going to be hiding the few euros that I do earn. The government has been very generous with me in giving me a tax allowance, which is part of the artists and writers tax allowance field, So it's shocking that the National Trust cannot be a little bit more supportive of the national interest. And the national interest should first and foremost be the people. should be the people. Not saving a few pound on printing. It's shocking, really. Shocking. Anyway, I'll just step outside. Yep, you've been waiting out here for me, haven't you, Jack? Now, I'm going to be, now that I've got all my stuff delivered over to Declan in Drumshambo, and I can draw a line, hopefully draw a line underneath that now for the year, because it took me ages, you know, gathering up all the receipts and printing out stuff. Yeah, I did actually go and buy myself a printer, because I didn't have a printer all these years, and I was having to use the local library to go and get things printed out. And recently there's been a few book orders have come in, and one of them was from Japan. I think it was the second time I've posted to Japan, but the address was all in Japanese, and there was no way that I could even begin to copy out the address. So I thought, okay, this might be the moment for me to go out and invest in a printer. So that's what I did. So this is the beginning of the weekend. It's Saturday morning, and what I'm hoping to do now over the next, possibly over the next week or so, is primarily to get really stuck into the garden here and get a few tasks completed, because they keep building up. If I don't keep on top of them, I'm then beginning to have tiny little anxiety pangs that I'm not doing enough, you know, and that doesn't feel good. So I prefer to keep on top of work and keep everything going as it should be going. And lots and lots of little tasks, like I have been wood preserving my goddess. I thought that colour would really suit her, and I might even give it a little wash of blue over the top. So I've got my wood preservative out. You can see the can down there. And I've been going round the other side of the lodge. I'll just show you. So you can see where I've been putting little bits of preservative on the wood that's got a little bit washed off. I was doing that in the dark the other night with a head torch on, so I need to get down along the bottom there as well and get a few more coats of paints on the more vulnerable parts, which of course is the little windowsills. And oh, there he goes running. He loves me to be walking about. And the same around here. And then I was looking at the she shed and thought, oh, haven't done this side. So I started to wood preserve up there. And then I've been tidying up the borders along here. I've got a lot to do, and I've been digging out the Valerian, which is down along here. So got that dug out, brought it over to my daughter who wanted the roots of it. So I've got this then to keep going along with. I want to get this finished, and at the same time have a little bit of time for enjoying the beautiful autumn colours, and especially for walking Jack. So I didn't get him out for a walk yesterday. So I really want to make sure that myself and Jack enjoy some of the walks. And this time of the year it's so lovely, because you've got all the colour, you know, the changing colour. And then a massive amount of tidying up, because the winter draws in very, very quickly here. The 1st of November actually, Samhain itself is the beginning of winter. And it can be quite wet and quite cold, intermingled of course with beautiful days when you think, oh gosh, this is like spring. And see some of the lovely colours. And these lovely mushrooms continue to grow. Can you see the mushrooms in the shrub there? Isn't that amazing? Behind the big wooden mushroom. There's more shaggy ink cap there, and through the bushes there. Some down there. And a little cluster of them in there. You see? So I'm going to be taking a few days off from social media. It'll probably only be 2 or 3 days. Knowing me, I'm never away for too long. But this is just for me to be able to catch up with all the chores and get to spend a little bit of time with herself, Mother Earth, and drinking the beautiful views, you know, the pictures and the scents and the sounds of Samhain. And of course the 29th is my birthday as well, so I think it's justified to take a little bit of time off around there. I want to make sure that I'm putting out some of the beautiful scenes around Samhain, which is the 31st of October and the 1st of November. Of course, it's been a beautiful autumn this year because it's been quite slow to develop. You know, the colours have been quite slow to develop, and so it's lingering on a little bit, which is beautiful. Very happy about that. And I might even get round to washing my car, which has gone for about 3 weeks without a wash. And I think the way to help maintain something like a car, which is a huge investment, is to keep it clean. It's like anything else, you know. Keep it clean. There's Jack running up the driveway. You happy, boy? He says, yeah, I'm happy. It's the weekend. He says, come on, Mum, there's a treat in there waiting for me and I haven't had my crackers. Are you talking? Are you talking? Come on, are you going to talk to everyone? Huh? I bet you'd like a cracker. Would you like a cracker? Okay then, go on. He's trying to nudge the door open. So, blessings to you all, and I'll come back at you fairly soon, maybe just in a couple of days. I'll come back at you with some nice images of the continuing glory that is autumn. And of course there are hundreds and hundreds of videos that you can check out. And I don't think any of them is really dated in that they are not relevant. I think they're all relevant because they're all seasonal. Blessings to you all.